If the cannabis plant has been used since almost the beginning of time, how did it become so stigmatized? So its first use was dated back to ancient Mesopotamia. Then it spread to ancient China, India, Africa, Vikings, everybody. Cannabis was not only used for medicinal and spiritual reasons, but the plant, as hemp, which has way lower levels of THC, was used to make everything from rope, clothes, food, oils, even one of the first forms of paper. We know this because there's hieroglyphs depicting its uses, and it's even been found in graves with shamans. This is one of the first written medical prescriptions for cannabis. It's on a clay tablet. So fast forward to the 1600s when the colonizers arrive in what we now call America. A lot of colonies like Virginia, Massachusetts, Connecticut required their farmers to grow hemp, but it was still mostly used for making things and trading. Then in the mid-1800s, this Irish doctor named Sir William found that cannabis helps with vomiting and stomach pain in cholera patients. By the late 1800s, cannabis extracts were being sold in doctors' offices and pharmacies for medicinal purposes. It was mainly being used as a painkiller, but it was in a lot of medications. But nobody really smoked it yet. In the early 1900s, Mexicans started fleeing Mexico because of the Mexican Revolution. And they were the ones that were like, hey yo, by the way, you can smoke it. Because cannabis became associated with Mexican immigrants and people were mad xenophobic, everybody began to fear the drug, which they called the Mexican menace. It was around this time that the name cannabis was changed to marijuana. This tied the plant's use to people that they believed were inferior, aka Mexicans. So 26 states easily passed laws prohibiting the devil's lettuce. Then in the 1930s, the Great Depression hit and people started losing their jobs left and right. A lot of people blame Mexicans for taking their jobs, which doesn't even make sense, but okay. So people became even more xenophobic. Then the media began to report that cannabis was linked to people of color, which meant that you were a violent criminal. So Harry Anslinger, the commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, began a campaign to criminalize cannabis. He claimed that the plant led to insanity. Then in 1936, the film Reefer Madness came out. This depicted cannabis users as basically psychotics. But in 1944, the New York Academy of Medicine published a report saying basically like, y'all chill, you're being really dramatic, it's not that serious. But the Boggs Act was still passed, which made cannabis-related offenses a super serious crime. In the 1960s, people started realizing that cannabis is basically harmless, but Congress still passed the Controlled Substances Act. This classified cannabis as a Schedule I drug, which was right in line with opiates and all the other hard stuff. From then on, presidents like Reagan, Nixon, and Bush kept fueling this whole cannabis is evil thing. Obviously, that was drilled into our parents' and grandparents' heads, and that got passed down. My guess is that these guys knew hemp could produce way more energy than the oil industry without polluting the environment, but then how would the rich keep getting richer, you know? Also, hemp has 50,000 uses, and it could probably save our economy. Just saying.